Hello and welcome to a special edition of Hometown Stories. I'm Joey Trombley. On the camera himself is the founding father, Calvin Castine. Today is the 19th day of July, and here we are. We're at Hudson Headwaters here in Champlain on Route 11, not far from Route 9 or I-87. And this was just a dream of Dr. Mo Racine many years ago. And he had a vision, what he wanted to bring here to Champlain, to the North Country, to more specifically the Northern Tier. And we had a groundbreaking ceremony with Calvin here. We were here for that groundbreaking ceremony, and as the months have gone by, and it's hard to believe, but here we are today, and today is going to be their open house. They opened on July 10th here in Champlain. Today is the 19th, but it's going to be their ribbon cutting ceremony, if you will, their open house, and for the public. And it's going to be very exciting because there was a lot of moving parts that had to take place for this to become a reality. And here we are today, and the people of the North Country are going to benefit a great deal because of this. And I'm really excited to take a walk inside. As you can see, the outside is absolutely in beautiful shape. They did a wonderful job. The grounds are spectacular, and this is definitely a class operation here in Champlain, and it's something we've never had before. And it's going to be a lot of fun going inside to meet people, talk to different people, and just see how it does look on the inside. But my guess is if it looks as nice inside as it does outside, we have quite a facility here. So we made it inside to the Champlain Family Health Center here in Champlain, and as you can see, the lobby, they're getting ready for the grand opening, and we have catering done by the Rainbow Wedding Banquet, right?
Wedding Banquet facility.
Yes, they're here today, and we'll be serving food and beverage to the folks. They're expecting about 120 people here today. And as Calvin, I know Calvin, you've taken a show earlier, but for the people who are just watching this one, you have the reception area where people can come in and check in into the health center here.
And these chairs here aren't normally set up like this to watch TV, but
no, I'm assuming there's going to be a presentation. That's where it will take place.
Yeah, normally this will be hometown cable stream 24 hours a day, and people will be able to sit here and watch it.
Well, I know you're expanding, with technology and social media, and people want now information, and hometown cable is just there to supply it. So. But again, it's what I said, outside, coming inside, it's just as beautiful inside as the outside. And 4 o'clock, I think, is the presentation,
the ribbon
or
cutting.
The ceremony, ribbon cutting.
Yep, they decided to move it indoors. This was planned a couple of weeks ago, just in case of inclement weather. And sure enough, as we were out there, it was sprinkling out there.
Right,
so
and which it's been rare this summer for us in the North Country.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like every other hour it seems to be raining here. But and Calvin, when you were here earlier, were you taken throughout the facility?
Entire facility, yes. Took a tour with Celine Racine Paquette, and Melissa Gooley was with us, and Kathy Johnson.
Okay. Now, people that are watching this for the first time, how can they see that show?
Just go online. It's there 24/7.
24. And how would they go online, Calvin?
Well, it's hometownCableNetwork.com, but I think everybody knows that. What we want to know is what's going on here with the medical center today.
Well, there's a throwback. What's going on here? And were you there for the ceremony at the bridge in Morrisonville?
Not yet, because it hasn't happened yet.
Okay, but that should be pretty special for you too, because obviously Gordy Little. How many years was Gordy doing his show with you?
19 years, Gordy. We started in '97.
Within
a few weeks after Bob Ben died, yes.
Our Little Corner, right?
Yes.
So for 19 years, I know you guys were close, and I'm sure you were quite pleased to know that the governor agreed that they could name the bridge in Morrisonville the Gordy Little Bridge.
That was very magnanimous of them to let the local communities do what they want to do. Yes.
But it did need the governor's approval.
That's right.
And he did step up, and he gave the okay for that. And I'm sure when they do have that ceremony, Hometown Cable will be there to cover it.
That's my plan.
All right. Excellent.
I've learned never to say I'm going to be there, because you never know if you're going to be there or not.
That is
Both
true.
Bob Ben and Gordy Little, I'd worked with them the day before, and they looked in good health.
Right.
So 24 hours later, they were gone.
You never know. Okay, so we're here with Dr. Slingerland, and Doctor, you took over for Dr. Runge.
I did.
He was the CO?
Founder and CEO.
The founder and CEO.
Correct.
And
Correct.
you are now the CO.
Correct. I'm a family physician. I've been with Hudson Headwaters about 10 years, and starting this month, I'm the CEO. I've been with the executive team for a while now,
Wow.
but also seeing patients, and I think that's the tradition at Hudson Headwaters that we.
So as your role as CO, you will still be able to see patients too?
Correct.
That's quite a balancing act then.
It is, but it's one of the most satisfying parts of the day, and a lot of my patients I've gotten to know pretty well over the last 10 years, and they so it's a lot of fun to see those folks and help them, and
I'm sure.
it keeps me connected to what we're aiming to do every day.
Well, I mean, you've been there 10 years, so it's very rewarding to see the growth you've had personally within the organization.
Yeah. The timing I think was right, and Hudson Headwaters really has an amazing foundation of buildings and community support across the region, and for me this is an opportunity to use that foundation really built by Dr. Ruggie and his team to do bigger and better things.
So now, where's your practice? Where's your main?
I see patients in Warrensburg and also in Queensbury.
Okay.
And
now, being the CO, is your plan to get out to more of the facilities in the course of the year? Or
as much as possible.
Do that from a distance?
Well, no, as much as possible, getting out into the facilities, really getting to know the communities that we're serving. And I'm from Johnstown originally, along the southern Adirondacks, so I've spent most of my life.
So New York's home to you.
Oh, it is, and we have amazing resources here, and I think really amazing communities too, and healthcare is a key part of that.
Absolutely. I was telling Calvin when I drove in here, it was like you look at this place, and it's incredible.
Yeah, there are certain core elements like schools and town and county governments and newspapers and hospitals that people really rely on, and Hudson Headwaters and our presence in a lot of communities is often that link into healthcare. But I think to do a good job with healthcare, we've got to be involved in a lot of other places as well.
And I mean, for this to become a reality, there were a lot of moving parts, obviously.
Yeah.
But my understanding is the community, Hudson Headwaters is well received by everybody.
Oh yeah, very deep roots here. Dr. Racine's practice is something he's been working on for 35 years, and many of his staff joined the network when he did. So, I think our roots here are deep, and then using the resources of Hudson Headwaters and lots of community support, we're able to do some pretty amazing things, and I think build new partnerships with the University of Vermont and CVPH and other groups here in the region.
Because you guys did work in conjunction with CVPH, with Stephen Monday?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, so we work very closely with the administrative group at CVPH, and really they're heavily involved with this building and helping us figure out the ancillary services, some of the specialty services. And this will be the first place that Hudson Headwaters teaches family medicine residents. Starting next summer, so that's the workforce that'll be the next generation of doctors for the Adirondacks.
Right.
So I don't think we would be able to do that on our own, but in partnership with CVPH and University of Vermont Health Network, we can do bigger and better things.
Sure. Well, I mean, just by the people here, the buzz that's going on, there's a lot of excitement for this. Unbelievable amount of excitement.
There is. So we hope this will be here for a very long time, and that we can really build upon the tradition of care that we have here, and then see where it leads.
Sure.
And as new needs arise, we hope to lead and help do some of that problem solving that around healthcare that folks need.
Well, you are leaders in the medical field, and you're always forward-thinking, planning. So I think there's room for growth, and your organization is the perfect organization for it because you have a track history of that.
we have a history of it, and we also really love doing this work.
Sure.
And all of us live in these communities and,
Right.
and benefit from the services. So
Right.
I think we're the right group to get these things done, and more it comes down to having good partners, and we're working hard to find those partners and really, combine our shared strengths to do good things. So I'm excited. I think
Oh my God! Well, you can see
the
everybody's face
communities
here. Everybody's
yeah,
excited.
Yeah.
So first off, congratulations on your new role as
Thank you.
CEO.
Thank you.
Congratulations on the new facility.
Thank you.
And thank you for taking time to speak to us.
My pleasure.
All right, appreciate it.
Yep.
Calvin, look who we have snagged. Mr. Champlain himself, the county clerk, John Zerlo, better known to us little whippersnappers back 30, 40 years ago, Jay-Z.
More.
I know. I remember, John, you said to me, I enjoyed having you in class when you showed up. One of the greatest signatures in my yearbook ever. I appreciate that.
But did you say county clerk or county jerk?
I said county clerk.
Okay.
I've heard people call you the county jerk.
I answered to both titles.
Now, your dad, Jack,
Yes.
was on a committee for the original medical center,
Yes,
wasn't
he
he?
was. Yes, he was. That was back in the around late 50s, because I remember I graduated from college in 1960, and they had a big dedication around that time. And remember, it was Amos Musso was on, Larry Paquette. I see that Cliff LaPlante. I see the little plaque. It's when I go to the hospital, when I was on the board at the CVPH hospital, across from the boardroom is a plaque that is on the wall that has all the members of the North Country Medical Center board when they started. In Moores, there was Junior, the grocer up in Moores Forks. Frank Goodrich Jr. Yep, he was on that too. Frank Forbes was on it. Cliff LaPlante. I see the names when I go by, but it brings back a lot of old memories. And there were a lot of meetings back when that was all formed, because there was nothing. They had to arrange for the funding, to get people to donate money, and when the building got paid off, I can remember that the medical, a lot of people didn't take their money. They could have taken their investment back, but they turned it over to the medical center. And the first doctor, I remember then he was. Years have gone by. That's a lot of years ago. Doc Schulteis, yeah.
Okay.
And then Doc Southwick came with Dr. Starr. Those were the formative years. But they did the job until something like this has come about, and this is going to just solve so many health problems for the Northern Tier, for Rouse's Point, Champlain, Moores Forks, Altona. And it's
Shazy.
And Shazy, of course. And then you're not going to save all the trips to Plattsburgh, but in addition, it's going to help CVPH as well. They're going to work hand in hand. A lot of the medical procedures that will be done here are part of CVPH. When people are found to be ill, they got to go to CVH for their surgery and things like that. So it's going to be work hand in hand. It's going to be just a complete great asset for the Northern Tier to have this building in conjunction with CVPH.
Well, I mean, you lived here all your life. You're a hometown Champlain guy here. When you drive up here, isn't it just absolutely amazing to see this type of building here in Champlain?
Not only this building, but many buildings since I was a child here. There's been a big landscaping change, but this, and the architecture, at first you go by and, what are they building here? But it's beautiful. And I'm looking forward to the tour this afternoon. I did have Calvin's tour, watched it,
Right.
but to be here yourself, it's it's a different story. But a lot of years have gone over the dam. When I was a young boy, medical care was given by either Dr. Vanacker or Dr. Allen. And if you were sick, my mother would get on the phone and she would call the doctor. And within an hour and a half, how busy they were, depending on how busy they were, they would come to the house with their little bag and needed a pill or whatever. They'd take some pills out of their little fishing box there and throw it in a little envelope, and that was it. That was the medical health service that we had. There were two great doctors, Dr. Allen and Dr. Vanacker. They served the North Country well. That kind of home delivery, as you might say, is no longer.
But didn't Dr. Southwick and Dr. Starr carry on that tradition for a little while?
They did, but it got pretty difficult to handle because business got to a point where they couldn't do that. I mean, they had to have a personal life for themselves, and they just couldn't continue on, is what Doc Southwick has told me many times. But yeah, this can be a great asset for the Northern Tier, no question.
And we've been fortunate. We've had some great doctors through the decades here.
Yes, we have.
From the two that you mentioned to Dr. Starr, Dr.
Dr. Schulteis was an early doctor.
Right.
Yeah, and
local boy, Dr. Mo Racine comes back to his home.
Absolutely, an old student of mine. You know, it's a funny thing. I visited my heart doctor today, just for a general checkup, and you know who he is? A student of mine, a former student of mine, Dr. Garin from Moores. And as Jack Dawson, the math teacher at Northeastern for many, many years, very capable math teacher, said that Tim Garin was probably the smartest kid he's ever had. Never gave him a wrong answer. And that was higher math all the way up through pre-college math. So yeah, we were very fortunate. We had great health care. And to have an expert like Tim Garin come back to the area, and he's kind of reducing his workload now. And my doctor is now Dr. Gauthier, he's given me to Dr. Gauthier, who's another phenomenal doctor. But yeah, I'm very pleased with what we see here. It's going to be phenomenal for our residents.
But that's a testament to our area, the Northern Tier, the North Country, for these doctors, these specialists who want to come back home to make a living here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And give their expertise to help.
Absolutely, come back to their home. Morris and Tim, you know, they didn't have to come back here. They could have gone anywhere in the world to work. But yeah, absolutely.
And Dr. Garin is world renowned.
Absolutely. Where he used to do interventional cardiology in South Carolina when he was there, some doctors would do a couple of hundred of these interventional cardiologists, putting stents in and whatever. He would do thousands. He was a worker. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I had my heart surgery back in 1994, and I thought I could be stented, but the doctor in Burlington at the time, we didn't have cardiac help here on this side of the lake, and he wouldn't do the stent. He said, I'm afraid to get my catheter caught, and I wouldn't even get you to the operating room. You would bleed to death. Today, Dr. Garin looks at my films and he said, today, your surgery would have been a piece of cake. You would have stented you in a minute. Been in the hospital one day and out.
Right.
Instead of cutting you up, staying in the hospital a week, and then having to recoup. So times have changed.
They have.
Yeah, and especially medicine. I mean, healthcare has changed so fast and so furious that you can't keep up with it.
Well, JZ, you have done, through your career here, you have been an asset to the North Country in your own special way, for many different ways, many different reasons, whether it's the hockey, whether it was golf, whether you're now county clerk.
A life of service, as I like to call it.
Life of service, legislator at one time, right?
I told life of service. I told my wife when I die, put life of service on my tombstone.
But
she says, I will not.
But I mean, that came from your dad, Jack. I'm sure that upbringing was part of it.
Absolutely.
So for you to
he was very civic-minded. Yes.
And for you, what you do is appreciated. But to take time and talk to the folks about this great event and to be here, we really appreciate you spending your time with us.
Absolutely. Good to see you.
Same here.
Calvin, good to see you again. Take care.
I can think back if you want me to.
Calvin,
Back to the late.
hang on, Calvin. What a treat it has been here today. It's almost like a homecoming, family reunion. Here we are with Dr. Southwick. I mean, Dr. Southwick, I think, has helped all of us, our families, over the years. And of course, you were down at the medical center. We were talking to John Zerlo about that. But for you, after all these years of service to the North Country, this has got to be a treat for you to see this type of facility come to Champlain.
Yes, it is. You know, I was thinking back, late 1950, there were 12 people, well-versed people, school teachers, school physicians, not physicians, but school principals, business owners, executives, civic leaders. 12 of them got together to form the North Country Medical Group,
Okay.
which became the North Country Medical Center.
Right.
So now, I hate to boast bolster him too much. But now one person, Mo Racine, with Hudson Headwaters, has created this magnificent state-of-the-art medical
Right.
center. Yep. Amazing.
But you came back and you brought Dr. Starr with you up here?
Yes, I came and then I was here 2 years, and then he read an ad in the paper, a medical journal, came from Illinois, could speak French, sat out in the waiting room, spoke French to many of the patients, and said, "I want to come here if you'll have me." And I said, "Fine."
Really?
That was it.
So what year was that?
1965. I came in 63. He came in 65.
And then what year did you retire?
2004.
2004.
Yeah.
So you're here for 41 years.
Yes.
Wow. Now, obviously, you've been retired now going on 13 years. Do you miss it at all?
Yes.
You do, huh?
In fact, my wife's not here, so she can't criticize me. But I've told her I could come back and do this. She says, "No, you've been away too long and you're too darn old." What a put down, what a put down.
But, I mean, from the time that you became a doctor to now, just how medicine has changed.
Oh my goodness, amazing.
I mean, it's just phenomenal.
It is.
And it's got to be, for a doctor, to see that type of change and growth has got to be very rewarding, even though you've been out of it for a few years.
And to keep up with it and make sure. And that was one thing George Starr brought about. He insisted, and I went along with it without any hesitation. Go to conferences, go to postgraduate courses, and
Right.
keep up with the changes that went on.
You have to, and it doesn't matter what industry you're in.
Oh,
you
that's
need
true.
to do that.
You
Just
know
saying-
that. You know
right,
that.
right.
Yours.
But you have to do that, you
Right.
know, and it's really incredible. Now, when I was talking to John, Jay-Z, when you came, how many years were you actually doing house calls before it got too busy for you to do that?
I never quit.
Really?
No, it got to be less and less because I was told by at least one or two partners, I've already mentioned one of their names, and said, you know, medicine is also, it's an art, it's a service, but it becomes a business. And if you spend hours out on house calls, I said, yeah, but I enjoy that. And it's such a fascination of going to people's homes. You don't have to be nosy.
Right.
But you can learn a lot. In fact, many times I learn more from my patients than they got from me.
Sure.
See how they live, what they do.
But just seeing that knowledge helped you when you're looking at them for their health reasons. You can see lifestyles, that changes they might have to make or whatever. But yeah, you do learn a lot face to face with people.
But the thing of it is, you talk about lifestyle changes. There are a certain number of people, I think in every community, they're embedded with whatever they do. And you are hard-pressed to make changes, unless they're receptive, of course.
Right. Well, change is hard. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So it's great that you came here, and it is a real treat that you came on camera with us.
Well, I thank you.
We both saw you, so we got to get Dr. Southwick on here. But yes, you gave a lot of credit to Dr. Racine.
Oh, yes.
But Dr. Racine got his chance through you and Dr. Starr
Yes.
by you taking him in. So there's been that growth.
Yes.
And then you were taken in by a couple doctors prior to you.
One, Dr. Schulteis.
Okay.
And he stayed, I think, shortly after I came. He came in 62, and I came in August of 63, and already made, maybe he came in 61, but anyway, he'd already made a decision to go on with his education in medicine. So
We've been very fortunate with, and I'll say awesome doctors here in the North Country. This man definitely being one of them.
Thank
Dr.
you.
Racine, and we have more coming in. And then you talked about, I think you're off camera, but one of the kids would grab candy or something, Calvin. What's that story?
Well, one of the providers is going to be Emily Colby, who 20 years ago was getting gum from Bob Venn. As he'd leave church, he'd hand out gum to kids and stuff, and Emily and her brother and sister are always there, and now she's going to be a provider here, so Bob would be very excited about that.
I have to put in one family joy. 2 months ago, I went to medical school graduation of my oldest granddaughter, so she's a physician.
Really?
I wanted or hoped that she would go into family practice, but she's going into OBGYN.
Okay.
And I said, yeah, you'll have family practice, but you won't have many men come to see you anyway. Maybe that's a plus.
But what a treat that your granddaughter has followed your footsteps into the medical field.
Yeah, she had. But I have to tell this too. She would get an A and be upset that she didn't get an A plus. I said, "Old Grandpa, get a C." And if you ever got a C plus, she celebrated. That's a difference.
It is. But you know, here you got Emily Colby again, another North Country person coming back home to share their skills with the people of the North Country. You did that. Dr. Starr came. Dr. Mo Racine could have went anywhere. Jay-Z was talking about Dr. Guerin, the heart doctor.
Let me interrupt you here. There were 4 or 5 students that became medical doctors from Moores. He was one. There was let me see. There was Guerin. There was King. And there were at least 3 others. So I said to Guerin, I said, how, you guys really had it. He says, we followed you. We thought, and I said, you thought if I could do it, they could.
What a great story.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for speaking with us.
Well, thank you.
I'm sure the folks are going to appreciate this on Hometown Cable.
Okay.
Very much appreciated.
See you, Cal. Take care.
All right, so we'll get started. Good afternoon. I am Jessica Rubin, the Executive Director of the Hudson Headwaters Health Foundation, and it is an absolute honor to welcome you all here today to the new Champlain Family Health. So today is about expressing gratitude to the many individuals and organizations that came together to create this beautiful new space. This, of course, includes the staff and providers who are the very heart and soul of Champlain Family Health. So please join me in a round of applause. We'd also like to thank our lead donors who have made contributions in celebration of the new facility. In recognition of their tremendous support, the following individuals, families, and organizations have exam and specialty rooms that will be named in their honor. Sano Rubin Construction, so the company who built this building, has sponsored an exam room. President Dave Hollander could not be here today, but, and this is a surprise, their exam room will be designated in honor of project manager Dal Valentini, whose leadership and enthusiasm saw this project from start to finish. Where's Dal? Where's Dal? There he is. Thank you so much, Dal. Well, couldn't have happened for a nicer guy, as we know. Rainbow Wedding and Banquet Hall, our caterer, so in addition to the delicious treats that we're all enjoying, has sponsored a large exam room, and they have designated this in honor of Jane's Fight Fund, a fund that financially assists cancer patients and their families. Thank you so much to Brennan Sample and the entire Sample family. Hudson Headwaters would also like to thank and acknowledge Stuart Shops and the Philly and Charlie Dake Foundation for their underwriting of the X-ray equipment. The X-ray room will be named in their honor. Finally, it is truly a pleasure to recognize Hudson Headwaters board member and donor Celine Paquette. In recognition of Celine's founder level of support, this waiting room will be named in honor of the Racine and Paquette families. I realize she is a friend and neighbor and family to many of you, so she needs little introduction, but it is still with very great esteem that we invite Celine up for her remarks. Celine?
Thank you, Jessica. Welcome to all of you, friends, donors, clients, soon-to-be clients, municipal officials, and leaders from the Hudson Headwaters Health Network in Queensbury. There's several of you here today, and it's a pleasure to have you here. First, I'd like to introduce some of the people who are with us today. We're going to keep this program very short because I know you're all eager to go on the tour. As Jessica mentioned, I serve as a board member of Hudson Headwaters Health Network and have served since Champlain became a member of the network. We have 17 centers, and there is a representative from each center on the board of directors. I'd like to introduce one of my colleagues here on the board, Dr. William O'Dwyer. Raise your hand, Dr. O'Dwyer. He loves Champlain. He comes here every opportunity he gets. We appreciate it. We're also happy to welcome administrators from our Queensbury headquarters. Dominic Becerra is the Hudson Headwaters President and Chief Administration Officer. Dominic, would you raise your hand? Trip Shannon is the Chief Development Officer. Trip. Tom Lyons, Director of Network Development. He's brought a lot of goodies too from the health network, so make sure you pick something up before you leave. Jessica Rubin, whom you've just met. Tom and Jessica put this together today, so we thank you. Deborah Barden, Vice President for Health Center Operations. Donna Gordon is Director of Nursing Services. They're all hiding there in the crowd. Chris Marine is Administrative Services Director. And a person we've seen here many, many times in Champlain, Dr. Dan Larson. He is our recruiter for all our providers, along with his lovely bride, Victoria Worth. Where's Vicki? Unfortunately, we have two administrators who are unable to be with us today, but were very instrumental in the development and creation of the Champlain Health Center. They are George Perdue, Executive Vice President, Chief Administrative Officer, and Chris Tournier, very important because he's the Chief Finance Officer. So we send our best wishes to them and miss them today. Another important group that I'd like to have, I was going to say stand, but maybe they're already standing, are providers. First we have Dr. Maurice Racine. Marilyn McClure. Julie Steele Goodwin. Dr. Nicole Serklevich. Dr. Jessica King. Dr. Candace Cholak was unable to join us. But joining us this fall will be Powell, I'm going to do something with this name, Klemikowicz. Is Powell here? And Emily Colby, nurse practitioner. Welcome to you both. And then we have some other very important people here while our nurses stand, but many of you are standing. Just wait, all our nurses. They're the smiley folks that escort you to your exam room, and we have 24 exam rooms. And they make you comfortable before your provider comes in to see you. Thank you, ladies. And then when you first enter this building, you meet the front office staff right here, all these cubicles here. And now, what do you think makes all this work? Appointments, schedules, supplies, keeping smiles on people's faces. Meet the two ladies who are responsible. Melissa Gooley, nurse manager. And Kathy Johnson, our health center manager. So you can see it takes a lot of time and a lot of people and energy to have a beautiful, efficient, effective center like this. Wow, we dreamed about this for a long time. My colleagues on the board always knew. I'd say, Champlain, Champlain. Dr. O'Dwyer shaking his head. I was always there to remind them. First, I'd like to offer my personal thanks to Dr. Racine for caring enough about his community that he had the foresight to seek out Hudson Headwaters, come to Champlain. Then we thank Dr. John Ruggie, who saw potential in this northern tier of Clinton County. The health network was not in Clinton County, and so he had faith in us and established the center in the northern part of the county. You can't go any further north. But we're grateful to the board of directors who approved the building of the center, and to everyone involved in the process, starting with the purchase of the land up to today's dedication. It took many people, many meetings, a lot of time, a lot of effort. And we're very appreciative of all the people who worked overtime and volunteered their time to get this set up. The building was ready, but it was empty. So we needed chairs and desks and computers and supplies, and it took 2 or 3 weeks. People from other centers, nurse managers and front office staff came and gave a hand. And even the night before this opened last week, at 8 o'clock at night, we were putting paper towels in the rooms. So. But we did open July 10th, last Monday, without a glitch. Everything was in order. So that speaks very well for everyone. Now I'd like to introduce you to a man who is new to his position, but not new to Hudson Headwaters. On July 1st this year, Dr. John Ruggie, CEO since the beginning of the Hudson Headwaters Health Network, acquired a new title, founder and executive chairman of the network. Our new CEO received a bachelor's degree from Williams College and a medical degree from St. George University School of Medicine. He completed his medical training at the University of Vermont Medical College, where he held the position of chief resident of family medicine. He's been with the network for 9 years. His previous position was vice president of strategy. Please join me in welcoming our new CEO, Dr. Tucker Slingerland.
Thank you, Celine. I think it should be noted that for at least 5 years, Celine has been making the 2-hour drive one way to come to our board meetings in Queensbury every month. And that takes some effort to get there and back, especially in the winter. But it's that kind of grit and that kind of determination that I think really results in buildings like this and facilities like this. And it comes from a whole bunch of people. Celine's commitment, Dr. Racine's commitment and determination over the years to his patients and his community, the operational folks here who made this happen. I found out the other day that some Hudson Headwaters contingency was living in a campground nearby to get the work done here for much of the summer. So that's above and beyond. I think the work that Dan and Vicki have done recruiting a medical staff here is again, above and beyond work. But that's what it takes to build a building like this in an open field where the wind really rips in the winter, and we understand that, we know that, many of us live here, and we know the value of healthcare that's homegrown and is available to everyone. And I think this is a new building, but it has very old and very deep roots. And I was surprised to read that the North Country Medical Group, which got its start back in 1962, really kicked off the tradition here. And it was not until the 80s, 1981, when Dr. Racine joined the group and has been at it for 36 years. And that it's that legacy and that responsibility that we really are taking on here. And this is a torch that we, Hudson Headwaters, now has the honor of helping to move forward, and that's a real responsibility that we take very seriously. And I think this is the building to launch into that and to get things off on the right foot here, and really continue a tradition. And I think this also wouldn't be possible without support from New York State and the federal government, and also private support here in many ways. And in my mind, this building is also an opportunity to do some really exciting things that Hudson Headwaters or any single group really couldn't do alone. The partnership that we have with CVPH has been absolutely key in planning ancillary services here, including lab, imaging, and in the future specialty services that had not existed here in people's backyard. The fact that next summer we will have family medicine residents here as an extension of the CVPH program in the University of Vermont Health Network program and resources is not something that Hudson Headwaters could do alone, but when you combine the know-how and the resources and the energy of our communities, you can do really profound and meaningful things. And that's the foundation that John Ruggie built through Hudson Headwaters with help from lots of folks, and it's really the platform that we will use to make an impact not only for Champlain but across the region. This building will have behavioral health resources embedded, not across the street but across the hallway. So as I see patients who have mental health problems, I can introduce them to the person that will be doing their counseling. We think that is a huge resource to folks. We will take on difficult issues here related to substance abuse and palliative care, but that's the responsibility that we I think are expected to thrive in and are really looking forward to. And I think if you've seen a building like this, it's really an inspiration that we can do these things. And we can solve these solutions here in the Adirondacks and surrounding communities with support from Albany and from Washington and from across the lake in Burlington, and that this becomes a community resource and a real place for problem solving. So I think there are partnerships here that date way back that we're just building upon, and we will do some pretty amazing things that I think we're all super excited for. I followed none of my notes here, but that's okay. Lastly, I would like to acknowledge Dr. Racine, again, his long history here. Every time I come to Plattsburgh or even Champlain, I learn a little bit more about Dr. Racine and through his patients and others, and I've even filled in a few times when he's been away, and his patients have known you since elementary school and way back. So that's the level of accountability that means a lot to people, and people trust that relationship, and that's the place that we're starting from, and I think it's a pretty great place. I happen to notice that there's a fair amount of wall space in this building. So I think if we could find room for 1 or 2 hockey sticks, it would go a long ways. And so lots to be proud of here. But I would like to take this opportunity to honor Dr. Racine with a special award, really from Hudson Headwaters and the rest of us for his 36 years, and to invite Dr. Racine up to make a few comments.
It's a bit overwhelming. Somebody said, I can't remember who it is, that an idea is only 20%. The other 80% is hard work, and it's obvious. Everybody that's here, there's so many people that have made this happen. It's incredible. 7.5 years ago, I gave up my hospital privileges. It was one of the most difficult things I ever did. And I called John Ruggie, and thank God John had heard about me, I guess. And he was intrigued what I wanted to do, and we were both intrigued if it could be done to have a practice 120 miles or so from headquarters. And it was pulled off, and it was done by staff, by Celine, by everybody. And around the early 60s, there was a bunch of community leaders who I look up to. Many of them were patients of ours in the 80s, and they died off. But they came together and built a nonprofit organization, which is the North Country Medical Group, that Dr. Salvig and Dr. Stardon took over. And it's kind of interesting, this many years later, it's back to a nonprofit medical health group. And when they had the practice going in 2 physicians, they decided the next thing they wanted to do was to have water lines between Champlain and Rouse's Point. So 2 things have happened, a new building and water lines between Champlain and Rouse's Point. Again, thank you. It's overwhelming.
So it's a great honor that Billy Jones, our Assemblyman, is here today, and I'd like to welcome you to the podium for your comments if you're up for it. You look up for it.
Thank you very much, and I can't tell you what an honor it is to be here this afternoon to share in this experience. It's really exciting when you walk into a room and you see people that are they're so excited, and all the hard work that everyone here has done has really paid off, and to walk into this facility. I want to congratulate all who were involved in helping to open this incredible facility. Through collaboration and careful planning, Hudson Headwaters, along with the University of Vermont Health Network, are able to ensure that the northern tier gets access to primary care and clinical services. Too many people in our rural communities do not have access to primary care. According to the National Rural Health Association, the patient to primary care physician ratio in rural areas is only 39.8% physicians per 100,000 people, compared to 53.3% physicians per 100,000 in urban areas. This uneven distribution of physicians has a direct impact on the health of rural populations, and the northern tier is no exception. However, with this facility, we will now provide the foundation for residents here to ensure that they get the care they need to not only ensure a healthier community, but a stronger economy. I see Gary Douglas over there, our economic expert here in the North Country, and that it runs together. Healthcare and your economy really goes hand in hand. When we take care of our citizens' health, we guarantee that our workforce is vigorous, and thereby our businesses are able to grow. Rural physician shortage requires innovative and outside-the-box solutions, which is why I applaud Hudson Headwaters for being here, in partnership with many others in this room, including UVM Health Network, in making this vision a reality. Now, we hear a lot of rhetoric in Washington and all over the country now about healthcare, and there's a lot of messy conversations going on right now. But I truly believe with this project and the collaborative spirit we have here in the North Country that we can become a leader in healthcare. Thank you very much for everything you've done. Congratulate you for this beautiful facility, and I look forward to Hudson Headwaters' growth here in our region in the future. Thank you.
There are 2 more people that I'd like to recognize here today. Dr. John Rumstead who is the CEO of the University of Vermont Health Network. And Stevens Mundy, who's the president and CEO of the University of Vermont Health Network, Champlain Valley Physicians Hospital. And thank you, Billy, for your remarks. Another person that needs no introduction, and he's Mr. North Country for all he does for our area. This man is president of the North Country Chamber of Commerce, Gary Douglas.
It's an honor to be here amongst so many of the great and good, and also Stevens Monday. Just kidding, Stevens. I'll pay for that, though. It's also an honor to follow Billy Jones. I would have said several months ago that he is an up-and-coming champion of the North Country. 7 months later, having finished his first session in Albany, Billy, you are a champion of the North Country. You're off to a great start. Keep doing what you're doing. We look forward to all you're going to do for us in the future, and happy to have a chance to say that publicly. Winston Churchill said, "We shape our buildings, thereafter they shape us." And this building is a perfect example of that. This building is going to be shaping health and well-being here in the Northern Tier and the North Country for decades to come. It really is in that spirit that I think we all gather here today, because it's more than about a building. It really is about something that's going to impact and shape this area for the next generation and beyond. I have had the pleasure of actually watching Hudson Headwaters do that shaping of the health and well-being of communities in the North Country for almost 40 years now. I first met a young fellow named John Ruggie, who came in to see Congressman Jerry Solomon after he was first elected back in January of 1979. I was his executive assistant, and he had just done this clinic in Chestertown, and he had this vision of now doing that in Warrensburg, and by the way, carrying on and building this network across the North Country way back then. And we had the pleasure of helping him get funding for that Warrensburg Health Center in its first iteration back then. And if you haven't been there, you haven't driven, you haven't gone to Oscars or something in Warrensburg lately, and seen what that now is, it's amazing. And this is now right up there too as another amazing project and achievement by Hudson Headwaters and all the people, Celine and so many others, who are part of making that happen through Hudson Headwaters. It's a great achievement. Sorry he isn't here today, because I wanted to share that memory. But welcome and thanks to Hudson Headwaters for now bringing that vision that started way back then, as far north, as Celine said, as far north as it can go, unless you want to be part of the national healthcare system in Quebec. You know, we can facilitate some conversations about that if you'd like to go even farther north. But thank you for being here. Thank you for this investment. And I also want to say on behalf of the North Country Regional Economic Development Council, what a pleasure it was and how easy it was 2 years ago when the vision was laid out for this project, to identify this and brand this for the state of New York as a high priority project for the entire 7-county North Country region. To tee it up for state support, which we were then able to help leverage as part of the totality of getting this done. It's a tribute to the new system, frankly, the Governor Como put into place that allowed us here in this region to set our own priorities and to be able to do what several years ago could not have been done. You wouldn't have been allowed to brand a facility like this as an economic development project. Everybody would have said, well, that's not economic development, you know, go to the health department, go somewhere else. But we were allowed to say what is economic development, and here in this area, this building is economic development. Not just because of the jobs here, although as important as they are, but because it takes a healthy community to have a healthy economy. And for a healthy economy here in the North Country, the services that are going to be delivered here for decades to come are essential to sustaining and building prosperity in this region. So thank you again for allowing me to be part of this historic day, and thank you to everybody involved for making this happen.
Thank you, Gary. This center would not have been possible without the cooperation of our municipal leaders in the village of Champlain and the town of Champlain. Please welcome Larry Barkle, Supervisor of the town of Champlain.
Well, thank you for the invite. On behalf of the town board, congratulations on a building that nobody dreamed of a few years ago, that we never dreamed of. You guys may have. I got a call, I believe 2012, a gentleman by the name of Trip Shannon, he was somewhere, telling me about a dream they had of putting up a health center with about 12,000 square feet, I believe, at that time. And now I hear I heard later it was going to be 16 to 18,000 square feet. Now it's about 25, 26,000 square feet. It just seemed to grow. Wait another 5 years without a hospital here, you know? But anyways, on behalf of the town board, we're certainly proud to have you part of our community. And it's a beautiful building. People are commenting on it. They tell me, I haven't been by at night when the lights are all lit up. They tell me it's almost like the U.S. border up here. Don't want to pay your light bill, I'll tell you that. But on behalf of the town board, I'd like to introduce my town board. I have my deputy supervisor with us, John Cooper. Clark Curtis is one of my councilmen. Brian Moore, Steve Southwick is here. We have the mayor of Rouse's Point, Dan Turtles, somewhere in the building here. Here's Dan. The governor of Champlain, Mayor Greg Martin. And I believe most of the board is here. Is Amy Garrett here? Yep. Okay. Tom Tremblay and Kim Tremblay. Yeah, okay, they're all here. I got one more. Janet McFedrick. I'm sorry, Janet. And also one of Harriet McManus is our county legislator from this area. I'm glad to see Harry here. Going on the progress in the past 5 years. A lot of people have asked us over these 5 years, when is this going to happen? And I can finally say, it happened. Good things come slow. This is one of the better things that's ever happened to the town of Champlain as far as healthcare goes. It's huge. It's a wonderful building. And I understand the staff is excellent. It's employing, twice the people maybe the old health center did. We're just glad the town is proud to be part of this project. We're glad that you chose Champlain. Thank you.
Thank you, Larry, and thanks to all the village board and town board members for their support. Supported us in this progress all along. It's much appreciated. We're right on time. Ribbon cutting. Are you ready for the ribbon cutting?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Oh, would you like me to give some direction?
Sure.
Okay, great. Okay.
Good evening, folks. We're in a few steps here. It doesn't take a team, so we're going to have a group photo actually right between those two columns. So we're going to need some cooperation to part the seeds a little bit. And so we're going to have Celine and Dr. Racine and Melissa and Kathy, and then behind them, all of our staff behind them as a group, and we'll have the photo op right here in the center. So if we can make our way and migrate this way, we've got the ribbon, and we've got the pair of scissors, and we're going to make it all happen. Thereafter, we'll be offering tours, okay? So just be a few minutes.
They are really anxious to cut that ribbon here.
1, 2.
At 5:10 exactly p.m. on this July 19th, 2017, the ribbon has been cut. Our cohort Joey Tremblay has to depart. He's, of course, the head of Kavanaugh Realty, and we appreciate him grabbing the mic and helping us out whenever he can, and we appreciate him being here. So there it is, the ribbon cutting, the new Champlain Family Health Center here in Champlain. If you're not quite sure where it is, it's just a stone's throw away from the shopping center. Just you can see the Price Chopper if you look out to the west a little bit. You can, we're right next door to, basically right next door to that facility. Outstanding crowd has turned up. Lots of folks here and enjoying each other's company. They'll be going on a tour. We'll try to tag along. We've already had a tour here thanks to Kathy Johnson, Celine Paquette, and Melissa Gooley.
We're going to start with some tours in the building. All of our staff is going to be lined up, and we'd like to get pen together, and the staff is going to take you
A few local names involved in this, and the project superintendent here was a local fellow here, Scott Blondo, working for Manane Construction. 3 generations of his family. His father, now his son, is also working for Manane. So nice job here. The project superintendent, Scott Blondo, right here from Champlain. And we're going to try to talk to one of the upcoming healthcare providers here. Are you a healthcare provider too?
Yes,
Yes, you are. All right. This is Hometown Cable. Welcome to Hometown Cable.
Hello.
I know who this is. I've seen her since she was in diapers. So
I'm not great for cameras.
So you don't mind if I start with Emily, do you?
Oh, God.
Okay.
You know Emily, yeah?
Emily, yes. I got it.
That's right.
So I have to say it Emily, or can I say Emily?
You can say Emily.
Okay. Emily Colby, and still Colby?
Yes,
it
still
is.
Colby.
All right. And you're, what is it?
Family nurse practitioner.
Family nurse practitioner. Now I heard January you're starting?
January 15th, February 15th. No official start date
No
yet.
official start date.
Yes.
So I got to ask, it's only July here. What are you doing right now?
Right now I'm finishing my internship. I graduated Mother's Day weekend from Duke University, and I'm
That's why you're wearing blue?
That's right. I'm finishing an internship, and then I'm hoping to sit for my boards in August, still working as a nurse in the ER. And then I'm having a baby in November.
Oh, that explains a lot.
And then we'll start officially full-time after the baby.
Okay. Well, welcome home.
Thank you. I'm happy to be home. This has always been my goal, to come back home and serve the local community. I've worked, at the hospital in some sort serving the community, but it's nice to be so close to home in the community that I grew up in. So I look forward to that.
I had a friend that died 20 years ago when you were still quite young, but every week after church, you and your brother and sister were there, and that fellow would hand you guys some gum, wouldn't he?
Spearmint gum or juicy fruit, right? Bob Venn.
So you'd be very proud of what you're doing. Hey, your cohort is taking off on that.
That's right.
We got tired of listening to you, I guess.
That's right. So Powell is also coming. He's starting sooner.
Yes.
Powell?
Yes.
Okay. From Kevich?
Yeah, pretty good, yes.
Pretty good, or?
Very good, yeah.
Okay.
It's like,
I know where Emily's from. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Poland, Eastern Europe. Town called Gdańsk. And moved to the U.S. 10, 11 years ago. To Plattsburgh, actually, so all the time in Plattsburgh.
So what brought you to Plattsburgh?
My
School?
wife Jessica, not school, no, the missus brought me to Plattsburgh, yeah. And so we've been living here ever since.
And you're a nurse practitioner too?
Yeah, just like Emily, yeah, family nurse practitioner. Graduated in May and starting in September.
So starting in September, that's just 2 months away?
Yeah.
A month and a half away?
A little bit sooner, yeah. It's...
Well, 12 years too late, but welcome to the U.S. and welcome to Champlain.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
You live in Plattsburgh?
It grew on me, yeah. People always ask me why Plattsburgh, but it actually grew on me, yeah. So, it's a beautiful area. Yeah.
All right. So, what does a nurse practitioner do?
Good
Everything
question.
a doctor could do, only better?
Yeah, I don't want to antagonize from the get-go. I'll reserve that judgment, but yeah, pretty much almost anything that the doctors can do. We diagnose, we treat, we prescribe medications and treatments, take care of our patients. Yeah, so pretty much the same story without the doctor title.
Welcome to Champlain, and Emily, welcome home.
Thank you.
Moving right along, we're going to talk to a couple of doctors. Dr. Nicole Serklevich.
That's me.
It's almost as easy to pronounce as this one here.
Jessica King. A lot easier.
Yes, it is. Dr. Sirklevich, you've been here how long now? It seems like just yesterday we talked to you, but it's been a couple of years.
It feels like it, yeah, but it's almost 3 years now.
3 years. So you have been busy?
A tiny bit.
Now, was this all dreamt about when they signed you up and said someday we'll have this castle to work in?
They did. They didn't quite call it a castle, but there was mention that there would be a beautiful new office for us, and it's really amazing to see it become a reality for sure.
Okay, and where are you from there, Jessica King?
I'm from Moores.
Moores, I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah, I grew up in Moores, so went to high school just around the corner from the old building, so it's pretty exciting to be home.
All right, any relation to my old friend Bernie King?
I don't think so.
Don't think so?
No, my dad's family was up in Shazy Lake, so.
Shazy Lake Kings. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, I know some Kings from up that way too.
Yeah, there's several families up there too.
All right, so this is a homecoming for you. How long have you're already here, or are you coming back?
Already here. I've been here almost a year now.
Have you?
Yep.
Nobody told me.
Oh, they should tell you these things.
We were trying to spare you an interview. You're welcome.
Almost made it.
So what's yours? Do you have a specialty? What kind of patients do you look for?
I see all patients from babies to all the way up to older people too. I do OMM like Dr. Sirklevich does. I do women's health. I kind of do everything. So, yeah.
All right, I think, as I recall, you were hoping for younger patients, but I know you've got someone as old as my wife as your patient, so you were hoping for younger patients too, right? But you take everybody, right?
Well, of course we take everybody,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
but we've had quite a few new pediatric patients come in, which is nice. It's always fun to have the full gamut, cradle to grave, as they say.
Oh, forget about that last part.
Good point.
Wipe that part out. We never said
Just
that.
delete that.
Well, welcome to a belated welcome, a year late.
Thank you.
Welcome
I
home.
appreciate it.
So you've been back in the area for all this time, or?
Yep, I've been here for a year now, living down in Morrisonville, and I love it. Glad to be home. Yeah.
So I'm sure you're excited about your new digs here, huh?
Oh my God, it's beautiful. They told me that this was supposed to be open by the time I started. A year later, we got there, but it's great.
So I think they want to keep you guys around. That's why they're making such a nice facility.
Yeah, they want to make sure we don't go anywhere else.
Anything else?
You couldn't possibly after seeing some place like this. We're not going anywhere.
No.
Great, that's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
It's been, what, 6-7 days since I talked to this fella?
It looks that way.
Last talked to you when you were heading out. When we get the light from him back here, Dr. Racine, people won't know. All you see is a silhouette. It finally happened, and you've got to be excited.
Overwhelmed. It's there's so many people that made it happen, and it's our children and grandchildren will be able to, great grandchildren will, it'll be a good for our community.
It's a legacy. It is a legacy to the community, and when Joey Trombley was here before he had to take off, but he got to talk to John Zerlo, whose father was heavily involved in this, and of course Dr. Southwick, and this couldn't have been envisioned 50 years ago. It just couldn't have been envisioned. It's just amazing.
Those guys, those 12 or 13 guys, and there was some women in that. Can't remember all the names, but they all had a vision that was like they knew we needed a good practice up here, and we were fortunate that building has served us as well as it has. But it was time to move forward.
Yes, it was getting kind of cramped in there. And as we talked to John Zerlo, he talked about when he was a youngster being sick, and I know that was the same situation. You'd call up the doctor, and he'd come to your door as soon as he was available. And I remember I've got asthma, so Dr. Van Acker coming to our house and tell him put the vaporizer running or whatever.
But now we have this place open from 8 in the morning to 8 at night, and it's well staffed and be able to serve people here.
It's just it's incredible. You're open 6 days.
Yep. Soon we'll have medical students and residents here regularly, so that'll be good. That'll just add to it.
Now I just talked to Dr. King and Dr. Sirklevich. There are just 3 doctors right now on staff? Or
There are
how many?
3.5. There's Dr. Sholak too. She works 2 days a week. So I would say, including myself, then you make it 4.5.
So who's the third one? So
There's-
Klevich, King, and...
And myself.
Okay, that's 3.5.
And then there's Dr. Sholak.
That's 3.5.
No, there's King,
Racine, King,
Sherlock,
Klevich.
Clever. That's 3.5. Yeah.
You didn't know there was going to be a math test, did you, Mark?
Well, we need to recruit another male physician. I'm thinking ahead here.
Oh, okay. So you're constantly recruiting, but then you've got
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure I got all there's nurse practitioners, and then what's somebody like Marilyn McClure?
Marilyn McClure is a nurse practitioner. We have Emily Colby.
Yes.
She's a nurse practitioner. We have Pavo. He's a nurse practitioner. And we have Julie Rosen-Steele, who's a physician assistant.
Okay. So the PA and...
A PA, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And the PAs have been around, I remember 30, 35 years ago. There was
Right.
a PA.
It came out of Vietnam days. You know, they were trained there, and then from there they got, states started licensing them throughout.
That's certainly a big part of healthcare, and so when you walk in here, there's a good chance you're going to see somebody who's very competent, and
Oh yeah,
you're
we're
going to
very
be able to get
fortunate.
right in and be able to see somebody.
A lot of experience under their belt.
I'm just going to wait for when Morris Racine is available. You got some other folks that
Who
can
are
help
also
out.
very competent.
So you're constantly recruiting, though?
Yep. And that's my next goal, to try to get another male physician, family doctor. Hopefully somebody that's a local boy, so he'll want to stay here.
There's a few of those around. We'll have to put the word out.
And it'll be much easier now to recruit one with this sort of
With this facility, yes.
Yeah, and the backup of CVPH, and Dr. Brumstead and I were talking. He's the head of Fletcher Allen. You know, his backup too. Pushing for better care in this area. So that'll help.
All right, any other thoughts, Morris?
None. We're just very fortunate.
Okay, I was hoping to talk to your cousin, Dr. Celine Racine Paquette, but she is...
Good luck finding her.
She's out chit-chatting. She found more important people to talk to. All right, thanks, Morris. I feel guilty because I can't really in one shot, get a good enough angle to justify the way this place looks here as we try to untangle our cord. Pat Murnane?
Mr. Castine, how are we doing today?
We're doing quite well. Now, I got a fleeting shot of Scott Blondo, who works for you guys.
Always trying to run away, that's right.
That's right. He's very humble. I just did my job, and he, what was his title? What was he here?
Scott Blondo was the project superintendent for this project.
Okay. We've had some cold days here.
Cold days, long days, 10-hour days. Wind blows like you wouldn't believe up here. Although you live down the road, so you know.
I would drive by here and look toward this, and I'd say, oh, those poor guys.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, being one of the Murnanes, you probably don't have to get out there and freeze very often, do you?
Luckily, not anymore. It's been quite a few years since I've gotten to work in the field alongside some of these wonderful North Country men that work for us. But I was thrilled with how this building turned out. A lot of great work all around. Our mason foreman, Ron Trask, as you can see, some of the beautiful masonry in the background here, did a wonderful job. Norm Dion, our carpenter foreman, worked on the siding, the vinyl siding that you see. It's very beautiful, and I think it came out really well for the new group coming in here, Hudson Headwaters.
Now, Scott told me off camera that he was working in Norwood and got called away to help out here. So you guys at any given time have a lot of projects going on.
Oh yes, we and across Clinton, Essex, Franklin, and St. Lawrence is the primary counties that we serve out of the Plattsburgh office. 15 consecutive projects at one time.
Wow, it's a lot of planning and scheduling, and it's just amazing.
Oh my goodness, yes.
Would you have any rough idea how many guys you're keeping busy at one particular time? It's got to be well in the hundreds.
Yeah, it's across New York State. I think we have 300 people on our payroll. That's just us. I mean, and then there's other contractors that work with us that we have running around on our job site. So it's a lot of people, a lot of work going on in New York State. It's great to see it happen.
Now, one of the things that I was particularly pleased with when this was being built was, as much as possible, they tried to go local. We're standing here on tarmac provided by Ardiso Incorporated, and Murnane Construction built this here, and it's nice when a Champlain boy, Scott Blondo, supervises on site the project. So all this is nice when you can get local jobs and local people.
Believe it or not, Mr. Castine, people work harder when it's in their backyard. They feel a sense of pride that everybody that they know is driving by it and seeing it every day. So it works well for us, it works well for the building owner, and I think they are proud of what they do too.
Yeah, when Scott drives by here 20 years from now, 30 years from now, with his grandkids, he can say, hey.
That was me.
Yeah, and I'm sure your family does that a lot of times, when you have that list of projects you've built over the years.
My father's done that more times than I think he'd care to admit.
So he put you guys in the car and say, see that building?
Yep. Hey, we're going to take a left here and take 15 minutes out of our way. Hey, check that building out. That was me. No, it's good, though. It's beautiful.
All right. So anything else, Pat, that we should know about? You guys did an outstanding job. It's just a great facility. And
I hope nobody has to come here. I hope everyone watching has good health and they won't have to come here. But if they do, it's a beautiful building, and I'm sure they'll be pleased.
Okay. Thanks for chatting with us.
Thank you.
He was a little reluctant, but he agreed to do it. So you've been watching Hometown Cable, viewer-supported local television, and we've been at the ribbon cutting, the grand opening here at the Hudson Headwaters Health Facility, Champlain Family Health Center in Champlain, New York. Thanks for watching.